The campus belle's mom always uses money to get rid of her suitors. Seeing all those guys getting paid off made my eyes red with envy. To get her mom to pay me off, I decided to pursue her. I even created the illusion that we were already a couple. Sure enough, her mom fell for it. She told me to take the money and stay far away from her daughter. So, after I distanced myself from the campus belle for a while, her mom was very satisfied. She was ready to pay me the final balance. However, just as I was reaching for the bank card, my hand was suddenly pinned down by Shen Buyu. I was wondering why you suddenly stopped pursuing me. Feng Shu, you dare play me. Do you have a death wish? Inside the tea house, Mother Shen pushed a bank card toward a blonde guy. Take this money and leave my daughter. The blonde guy held his head high, looking completely unmoved. Ma'am, do you think money can extinguish my unwavering love for Buyu? If you keep pestering my daughter, it'll make you disappear from the face of the earth. The blonde guy froze. Then, he snatched the bank card. Fine, leave. After saying that, he ran off without looking back. I was standing nearby holding a teapot, my hands trembling with excitement. Just 2 sentences and he scored 5 million. I looked down at my work uniform. Hourly wage of $250 3 times a week. 3 hours a shift. That's $8,000 a month. That guy just flapped his lips and achieved financial freedom. Why the hell am I still working part-time? I fell into deep thought. After returning to campus, I immediately downloaded the finance school's textbooks and started grooming myself. Finally, I bought a nice piece of stationery and wrote a love letter to Shen Buyu. I wrote that it was love at first sight and that I loved her uncontrollably. I even copied a bunch of love poems to dial up the romantic intensity. Once finished, I headed straight to her classroom to find her. I was very confident in myself. Isn't it just acting like a simp and pestering Shen Buyu? And then getting 5 million thrown at my face by her mom. I'm a natural at this. When I got to the classroom, I spotted Shen Buyu at a glance. She was sitting in the back rows by the window. She was surrounded by her roommates, all of whom were rich young ladies. Right now, they were playing a mobile game with dead serious expressions. I walked straight over and sat down right next to Shen Buyu. She glanced up at me amidst her busy gaming, her gaze sharp, like her territory had just been invaded. My heart was pounding wildly. I cheered myself on internally. Don't worry, Shen Buyu. I won't simp for you for nothing. I'm gonna take everything I can get. Excuse me, is this seat taken? She ignored me and kept playing her game. I took that as a yes, took off my jacket and squeezed in. In the process, I even casually flashed my abs. Then I leaned in and introduced myself near her ear. Feng Shu, sophomore law school. She was as cold and aloof as a block of ice, showing zero reaction to my words. Meanwhile, people around us were already sneaking glances, looking at me weirdly, like I was a clown in a circus. But I didn't care. As long as word of this reached her mom's ears, it'd be successful. The class bell rang. She put her phone away and focused on the lecture. I quietly slid the love letter over and slipped it into her book. She shot me a side eye but ignored me. She didn't reject it. There is a chance. I struck while the iron was hot. Shen Buyu, I like you. Do you believe that love grows over time? She raised an eyebrow, gave me a look of pure disdain, and silently scooted a bit further away. Perfect. I love this aloof attitude of yours. For a while after that, I acted like a total creep. Wherever she went, I followed. When she had morning classes, I bought her breakfast and sat with her. When she went back to her dorm, I waited downstairs. A few times, I ran into her family's maid coming to do her laundry. The maid came to pick up Baya's clothes. I'll wash her clothes from now on. Why don't you just stop coming? The maid ignored me. I turned right around and said to Shen Buyu, is your family running a charity? Hiring deaf mutes and all? Shen Baya's roommates were gradually won over by me, because I constantly bought snacks and drinks for their dorm, and even fought to get them the braised pork meatballs from the second cafeteria. The braised pork meatballs were a hot item. You had to fight for a long time to get them. These rich young ladies couldn't be bothered to fight for food, so they just ate what I brought. As a result, I earned the privilege of entering their dorm. I say dorm, but in reality, they owned the entire floor. It was an exclusive dorm building for the rich. Later, I spent another month convincing them to let me handle all the cleaning. This step was crucial. I was now one step closer to Shen Buyu. Every time Shen Buyu opened her laptop to work, I'd sit right next to her. She ignored me, but she didn't kick me out either. I watched her, and she watched her screen, thinking about how her mom would eventually throw 5 million at me to get lost. I felt incredibly at peace. I asked her, don't you get bored doing this? I can sing. Let me sing you a song to lighten the mood. No. Then how about a story? No. Then let me tell you about myself. You can't just know nothing about your suitor, right? She rejected me again, but I didn't care. I just started listing my good qualities. I think we're a great match. I'm the handsome hunk of the law school, And you're the campus belle of the finance school. Wherever we go, people will be green with envy. You never talk and act all aloof, while Im's super talkative and passionate. Us being together is what you call complimentary. I went on to tell her about the highlight moments of my life. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore and squeezed out 2 words. Shut up. But as long as I asked her what she wanted to eat, she would answer me. Fang Shu, I want seafood noodles. The seafood noodles were at the 4th cafeteria, which was on a completely different campus. But Ed still jump right up and go get them for her. After a few months of this, you might ask if she was easy to pursue. It was definitely hard. She only listened to what she wanted to hear. But if you say she was hard to pursue, she never let anyone sit next to her in class. Yet I could sit beside her and bother her every single day. I even openly secured a spot in her dorm. Like right now, I said I wanted to watch a show while eating, and she just gave up her laptop to me. Sometimes when a cringy scene came on, she would cover her eyes. I couldn't tell if she was watching me or the show. After lunch, I was getting ready to leave. Her roommate, Luo Qingyu, squeezed over and whispered to me, Fang Shu.
Baya's birthday is coming up.
My eyes lit up. My chance had arrived. I had to pull off a massive over-the-top confession, boiling the frog slowly like I was doing now. Wouldn't move her mom at all. I had to go big, so I searched online for low-cost confession ideas. Finally, I decided to arrange candles into a star shape on the sports field, with our names in the middle. It was as brain-dead and cliché as it gets. The night before her birthday, I had Luo Qingyu and the others drag Shen Buyu to the field. The moment she saw it, she turned around and walked away. I yelled, stay, there is still a surprise. She didn't even look back. Afterwards, I felt incredibly humiliated. Fortunately, the school janitor came and put out all the candles with a fire extinguisher. I apologized profusely while helping him clean up. The next day, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered, and the person claimed to be Madame Shen's secretary. Madame Shen wanted to meet me. I agreed immediately. All right, it'll be right there. It was the same tea house. Mother Shen looked me up and down. So you're the one who's been harassing my daughter? I put on a look of righteous indignation.
Ma'am.
You can't say that. We are truly in love. No one can tear us apart. She frowned in disgust, then pushed a bank card toward me. Here's 5 million. Leave, my daughter. Seeing this, I forced down the joy bubbling in my heart and squeezed out a few tears. We truly love each other. She even said she wants to marry me. Mother Shen's face changed completely when she heard that. Marry you? Take a look at yourself. Are you even worthy of my daughter? I immediately straightened my back and stood up.
Ma'am.
You can't say that. Your daughter likes me, so I must have some outstanding qualities. She choked on her words for a second, then upped the ante. As long as you agree to leave her and break up with her, it'll give you another 5 million later. I immediately put on an extremely pitiful expression. It's not that I'm leaving her for money. It's just that a love without a parent's blessing won't last long. Ma'am, should we sign an agreement? You need to clearly state that this is a gift. Mother Shen looked utterly disgusted. Things given by the Shen family are never taken back. Hurry up and break up with my daughter and get out of my sight. I stood up, practically bursting with excitement. You got it? Then I pulled out my phone and called Shen Buyu. It rang twice before she picked up. She immediately said, I want seafood noodles for lunch. Her voice was as pleasant as ever. But now that I had 5 million, I was full of confidence. I yelled into the phone, eat, eat, eat. All you know is how to eat. I'm never going to bother you again. We're done. I hung up the phone, decisively deleted her WeChat, and quickly bolted. It wasn't until I got to the bank that I slapped my forehead. I forgot to ask for the PIN. Just as I was thinking about it, the secretary texted me the PIN. Now that I had 5 million, I quit my part-time job and started preparing to study abroad. I had given up on it before because I didn't have the money, but now that I did, I immediately started getting ready. My roommates asked me curiously, "Weren't you pursuing that unattainable flower from the finance school? Why are you holed up in the dorm studying every day?" I chuckled. Couldn't catch her, so I gave up. But after I gave up, Shen Buyu started appearing around me frequently. I just pretended not to see her and quickly slipped away. Her roommate Luo Qingyu came looking for me. Fang Shu, Buyu just can't bring herself to apologize to you. But she doesn't hate you. If you just hold on a little longer, you'll definitely succeed. I waved my hand. Forget it. A forced relationship won't end well. I won't bother her anymore. In the end, Luo Qingyu left looking like she was constipated. I thought that was the end of it. But 2 days later, Shen Buyu actually came to attend a class at our law school and even sat right next to me. I immediately got nervous, terrified that her mom's spies would see us and think I was breaching our contract. She cleared her throat uncomfortably. Sorry about that day. I just didn't want to be stared at by a crowd. I was stunned. She was actually apologizing. I had no choice but to apologize too. It was my fault for being too flashy. I caused you trouble. I'm the one who should apologize. Her eyes widened slightly. Since you know it was your fault,
Why did you stop talking to me?
you made it seem like I was the one in the wrong. I forced down my feelings of helplessness, turned my head and ignored her. She didn't talk much to begin with. So seeing me ignore her, she just sat there quietly. After a while, I felt like this couldn't go on. So I spoke up again. What are you doing? Taking our law school classes is useless for you. She looked at the marriage law textbook on the podium. Maybe you'll need it in the future. Class ended right at noon. She stood up and asked me, want to get lunch together? I looked at her and bluntly stated without mercy, actually, I don't like you anymore. You can understand that, right? She was completely stunned by my words. I scratched my head, looking super apologetic. Sorry about that. Her face turned livid. She turned around and left without saying a word. Watching her walk away, I broke out in a cold sweat. I thought about it and decided to let it go. Once I come back from studying abroad and make a lot of money, I'll just pay her mom back then. After this incident, Shen Buyu really did stop paying attention to me. I didn't run into her roommates on campus anymore, and they stopped coming over to act as peacemakers. Sometimes I found it pretty amazing. Thank goodness her mom showed up in time. Otherwise, with how easy she was to pursue, if I had actually won her over, I would have ended up breaking her heart even more. However, one day, 2 months later, she and I unexpectedly bumped into each other in the stairwell. I accidentally locked eyes with her. I couldn't even pretend I didn't see her. When she saw it was me, she just walked past with a cold face. I felt a twinge of guilt over this, but on second thought, out of all her past suitors, I didn't even count as a blip on the radar. At best, I was just free labor. Why was I even worried about breaking her heart? Another month passed, and Mother Shen sought me out again, still at that same tea house. This time, her attitude was a bit milder. She nodded at me. You kept your word. Then she pushed the bank card over. Seeing this, I immediately reached out to grab it, but my hand was suddenly pinned down. It wasn't Mother Shen. It was actually Shen Buyu. She glared at me coldly. I was wondering why you suddenly stopped pursuing me. Turns out you took my mom's money. Seeing this, Mother Shen immediately sold me out. Daughter, don't be fooled by this man. He just wants money. He used to work part-time at this tea house. Every time I paid off your sister's suitors, he was right there watching. I bet he just thought you were an easy target and came to scam you. I was dumbfounded when I heard that. Shen Buyu actually had a younger sister, and the ones being paid off were her sister's suitors.
Right at that moment?
Shen Buyu suddenly leaned in close to my ear. Fang Shu, do you have a death wish? You dare play me after that. I didn't get my final payment, and was dragged away by Shen Buyu. Before leaving, she even told Mother Shen to stay out of her business. Once we got downstairs, I tried to shake off her hand but couldn't. Instead, I was shoved into her car. I was startled. You're not thinking of, she drove incredibly fast. I had no choice but to shut up. The car headed toward the campus, which made me feel a little relieved. But to my surprise, she parked the car in front of a villa. She dragged me out with a cold expression. She looked furious. I regretted everything. I had a feeling she was going to end me. The moment I got out of the car, I immediately squatted down, throwing all my dignity out the window. My life was more important. So, I slid right into a dramatic kneel, hugged her thigh, and begged for mercy. Shen Buyu, I didn't do anything. I'll give back all the money your mom gave me. I beg you, please let me go. I promise I'll disappear from your sight forever. Hearing this, she only grew more impatient and dragged me straight into the house. I clung desperately to the doorframe, refusing to go in even if it killed me. But she pried my fingers off one by one. I was both terrified and angry. What the hell do you want? I've waited on you for so long. How can you be so heartless? She gritted her teeth. You have the nerve to bring that up. Weren't you the one who provoked me first? I brazened it out. Then what do you want? I am not going in there with you. I never expected that a moment of greed would lead to me being forcibly detained by Shen Buyu. On the sofa, she sat across from me, her face terrifyingly dark. From my initial begging for mercy to my eventual cursing and swearing, nothing could make her expression soften even a bit. Just like that, we stared each other down for the entire afternoon. Eventually, I couldn't hold out anymore and fell asleep on the sofa. When I woke up, I really needed to use the bathroom, but she was still sitting there, lost in thought. I squirmed a bit and glanced at my hands and feet, which were bound by ties. How long are you going to keep me tied up? I need to use the bathroom right now. She didn't even look at me. You're a sinner right now. You have the nerve to make demands? I immediately got defensive. Didn't you enjoy the perks too? Getting your meals every day was exhausting. I even had to wait on your roommates. I already said I'd give the money back. I really don't have the luck to enjoy your money. I remembered her mom mentioning a younger sister, and suddenly realized I had definitely pursued the wrong person. If it had been her sister, there wouldn't have been this much drama. I had no choice but to explain myself. I know I got the wrong person. If I had known, I would have gone after your sister. I'm apologizing to you. Isn't that enough? If you're still mad, it'll get you meals for another semester. At the mention of her sister, her face turned even uglier. I watched as she stood up and slowly approached me, looking incredibly gloomy. So you really are like my mom said. You only pursued me for the money. And you originally wanted to pursue my sister. I couldn't help but shiver in fear. However, she suddenly changed her expression, looking like she was in a much better mood, and even untied me. I couldn't figure her out at all. After dark, I came out of the bathroom and prepared to leave. Before walking out the door, I turned around and glanced at her. I'm leaving. What do you want to eat tomorrow? I'll bring it for you, using the money your mom gave me. She smiled at me. What she gave you is none of my business. This was the first time I had ever seen her smile. I always thought she had a paralyzed face. Turns out she looked really pretty when she smiled, just a bit cold. As I was thinking this, before I could say anything, she continued, I accept your confession. From now on, you're my boyfriend. Are you surprised hearing this? I rolled my eyes and grumbled internally. What surprise? More like a jump scare. Seeing that, I didn't say anything. She walked over and rested her hand on my shoulder, then leaned into my ear. Fang Shu, I won't let you regret provoking me. I shuddered at her words. Can I refuse? What do you think? Being locked up here forever, or being my boyfriend?
Take your pick.
In the end, I could only nod and agree to be her boyfriend. She was so pretty anyway. It wasn't clear who was taking advantage of whom, but I severely underestimated Shen Buyu's shamelessness. After returning to campus, she openly dragged me around everywhere, showing me off. Everyone looked at us in awe. Her demands became even more excessive than before. As long as I didn't have class, she would immediately summon me over. At first, I couldn't be bothered to entertain her and just studied in the library by myself. But my peace only lasted 2 days before she cornered me in the library. She wasn't even angry. She just stared at me. But that chilling gaze made my hair stand on end. I couldn't help but speak up. I need to study for exams. Even though we're boyfriend and girlfriend now, we shouldn't interfere with each other's lives, right? She nodded, but smiled as she opened a small box. Of course. We're a couple now, so this is my gift to you. I took a look. It was a bracelet. I looked down at it and realized it actually had a combination lock. I started to panic and hurriedly tried to take it off but found it was stuck fast. Then she just grabbed me and dragged me away. When she finally let me go back to my dorm, she bluntly stated, when I call you, you come immediately. Otherwise, bear the consequences. I was completely speechless. The next day, she texted me to get her food. I ignored her and went to the cafeteria to eat by myself, then went to the library to study. The moment I sat down, that bracelet started blaring, and the alarm sound was a recording of my own voice. I'm apologizing to you, isn't that enough? I was so startled, I nearly jumped out of my seat. Everyone looked at me like I was a lunatic. I tried to find the switch but couldn't find it anywhere, so I had no choice but to flee the library. All along the way, people stared at me. Some looks were weirded out, others were mocking. I furiously called Shen Buyu. You are so despicable. She just replied with a laugh. Boyfriend, hurry up and bring me my food. After I was forced to agree, the bracelet finally stopped screaming. I went to the cafeteria, got the food, and when I arrived at her dorm, her roommates all teasingly called me brother-in-law. I grunted in response and tossed the food onto her desk. I leaned down and whispered harshly in her ear, do you know how humiliated I was just now? Why are you so evil? Do you know how many people in the whole school are laughing at me right now? She just gave me a fake smile, looking incredibly punchable. The feeling is mutual. Seeing this, I glared at her through gritted teeth. Can I leave now, princess? But she shook her head. No. Her roommates watched us curiously, their eyes seemingly asking me, since when did you dare to be so arrogant? I could only angrily slam my backpack onto her desk and start studying. From then on, she seemed to hold the reins of my fate. As long as I dared not to reply to her texts or didn't go see her, she would make the bracelet scream. She knew I was taking the TOEFL exam, so she told me to return the $5 million her mom gave me. We had a massive fight that day. I pointed at her. You and your mom. Didn't you say that things given by the Shen family are never taken back? I sacrificed so much. I deserve to get some benefits. She stood up and yelled right back at me. I think you've let a little money get to your head. You're my boyfriend now. Look at what you're doing. Where is your awareness as a boyfriend? What right do you have to study abroad? If you don't take the money and leave me, let alone $5 million, it'd give you $50 million. I clenched my fists and couldn't help blurting out, who cares about your filthy money? She pointed at me. If you don't care, then give it back. You are not allowed to use my family's money to study abroad. I was so angry I beat my chest and stomped my feet. Shen Buyu, I really look down on you. Take this bracelet off me. I want to break up with you. Hearing this, she grabbed my hand tightly. Break up? Over my dead body? I froze. In that moment, I felt like even though we weren't married, it was worse than being married. It was terrifying. But at the end of the day, we were still college students. At noon, over the issue of what to eat, I got into another huge argument with her, completely overwriting our previous fight. She said she wanted spicy chicken from the first cafeteria. I said I wanted to go to the fourth cafeteria for seafood noodles. She said the fourth cafeteria was too far and she was too lazy to walk. I said then I'll go by myself. As a result, she went from the half-crippled state I had pampered her into to going to the cafeteria with me every single day. I threw my hands up. Then let's just eat separately. Neither of us has to compromise, but she just grabbed me. You wish. Then I was forcibly dragged away to the spicy chicken stall. My suggestion to the school was quickly adopted. After the notice was published, Shen Buyu announced to me, let's move out and live together. I refused premarital cohabitation. She sneered, completely ignoring my opinion, forcibly canceled my dorm room, and moved me into her villa. However, living at Shen Buyu's villa did have its perks. It had a private bathroom, so I didn't have to go to the public bathhouse anymore. Did you use the public bathhouse at school before? Yeah. If you want to experience a public bathhouse, you can come to my room, and we can shower together to create that bathhouse atmosphere.
I was a bit speechless.
How can men and women bathe together? Besides, I'm an innocent virgin boy. What if someone's animal instincts take over? Wouldn't I have nowhere to cry? Boys need to protect themselves out there. Before the winter break of our junior year, she said everyone was organizing a trip together. She said everyone was bringing their boyfriends, and she wanted me to tag along too. I didn't want to go, but she wouldn't let me refuse. In the end, I compromised. We went to a holiday resort. When we got there, it started snowing. Everything was covered in a blanket of white. Unlike in the city, there was a ski resort here. Many people were skiing. Shen Buyu asked me what I wanted to play. I looked at the ski slopes, eager to try. I had a great time. That night, we had a barbecue. The couples all dispersed to do their own things, leaving only me and Shen Buyu. She grabbed my hand, finally revealing her true purpose for this trip. Fang Shu, come soak in the hot springs with me. After that, I had no choice but to follow her. We walked up along the mountain path. She said the hot springs were in another area, and we had to walk a bit. Normally, you'd take a cable car. We stepped on the snow, with her walking in front and me following behind. In the vastness of the night, it was just the two of us. Looking at her, I couldn't help but laugh, because I suddenly realized that we were like two lunatics. Even though we fought every day over the most trivial things, we had still been together for so long. Under the moonlight, we continued along the mountain path. Are there wolves in the mountains? Yes, so you better stay close to me. If you get bitten to death by a wolf trying to save me, I'll remain a widower for 3 years to show my respect. If I die trying to save you, and you dare find someone new, I won't let you off even as a ghost. Love is about respect and blessings. You still have a long way to go. You're someone who would sell yourself out for money and play with other people's feelings. And you dare teach me what love is. You always hold on to the past. I really don't get what the point is. Isn't it your own fault? Who told you to play me first? When we arrived at the hot springs, there was no one else around except the staff. I looked at the steaming hot springs inside and couldn't hide my delight. If I had a job like this, I'd definitely come here to enjoy it every day. After changing clothes and coming out, she was already in the pool. A floating tray with red wine and cake drifted on the water. I looked at her and cursed internally. She really knows how to enjoy life. So I slipped into the pool too. Not long after, she looked at me seriously. Can you not study abroad? Of course not. If it weren't to make money to study abroad, would I have been? I swallowed the last 2 words. After all, starting a fight in this atmosphere would totally ruin the mood. Forget it. What do you know? All you know is how to boss me around. However, just as I closed my eyes to continue enjoying the warmth of the hot spring, can't you just get your master's in Ph.D. domestically? Don't go. Okay, but I want to go out and experience things. I want to see how other people live. Then what am I supposed to do when you leave? You're not my daughter. It's not like no one will take care of you when I'm gone. I can go wherever I want. Getting out of the hot spring, I felt a bit dizzy. I held my head. Is this hot spring toxic or something? Who told you to drink so much? She was going to take me back to the room. I groggily looked up at the moon above. Actually, I really like you. Hearing this, her whole body trembled. Then she tightly gripped my hand. Me too. The next day, I woke up feeling a bit excited because I remembered that after returning to the room last night, Shen Buyu seemed to have unlocked my bracelet. However, when I raised my hand to look, I was stunned. Why was it still there? Shen Buyu opened the door and walked in. You're up? You shouldn't have drank. It's already noon. Why is this still here? How should I know? What a petty woman, holding such a grudge. By the second semester of our junior year, I became incredibly busy. But Shen Buyu was even busier than me. She went to intern at her family's company. Sometimes she'd be working on a project and wouldn't come home for days. This actually improved our relationship. We rarely fought, though things were still mostly the same. When we had free time, we'd discuss where to eat. But other than eating, we didn't have much time together at night. Sometimes we were both in the study, her busy with work, me busy with studying. She never brought up stopping me from studying abroad again. Sometimes, I even suspected that she didn't know what I was doing, just like I had absolutely no idea about her current work. As time went on, I started having more free time during the summer before senior year, but she was still swamped with work. Even though we still lived together, I felt like she was drifting further and further away from me. It left me feeling bewildered. However, with my free time, I often read books. Reading helped me calm my mind. For a long time after that, I started reflecting on my relationship with Shen Buyu. Finally, one day I figured it out. In the living room, I picked up a book and sighed. I thought, maybe I was just like the white moonlight in those bossy CEO novels. I insisted on studying abroad, making room for the real male lead. The white moonlight might regret it in the future. But right now, I couldn't give up my bright future. I couldn't give up a different kind of future. I couldn't gamble on someone's conscience and love. People grow at different speeds, and people start from different starting lines. Under such a massive gap, true love can't withstand too much turmoil. So I got up and walked into her study. I picked up a pen and wrote a single sentence in a book. "I'm leaving. I admit that I really do like you a lot. You've probably already forgotten me by now. But it's okay if you've forgotten me, because I'll forget you too." After writing that, I took out my phone and deleted Shen Buyu's contact info. After that, I arrived in a strange city and started a new life. My roommate was a medical student. I would often hear, in my sleep, the sound of him sighing from his room. Whenever that happened, I was glad I had deleted Shen Buyu's contact info. Otherwise, in the dead of night, I definitely would have wanted to call her. After all, besides her, I didn't really have anyone else to contact. 2 months passed like this. I really couldn't take it anymore, because every single night, the smell of cooking would waft up from the apartment downstairs. Cooking this late at night, it was truly unbearable. So I followed the scent downstairs, walked up to my neighbor's door, and knocked. The door opened, and the person who opened it was actually Shen Buyu. The moment I saw her, I stood frozen in place. Shen Buyu was standing right in front of me. She picked up a large plate of sweet and sour ribs and dumped them out for a dog nearby. The dog ate happily. Yesterday, I was still pitying it for being a stray dog, feeling like we were kindred spirits. Today, it was living the dream. "Excuse me, can I help you?" I snapped back to reality and handed over some fruit. "I just came over to meet my new neighbor. Sorry, I don't eat things from strangers." Hearing this, I placed the fruit by the door, then reached out to grab her arm. She immediately shook off my hand. Unwilling to give up, I grabbed her wrist again. Just then, someone walked by, stopping curiously to look at us. Seeing this, she reluctantly pulled me inside and looked at me with disdain. "You came out here to study, and all you've learned is how to run to your neighbor's house in the middle of the night and get handsy. I've been miserable. The professor is pushing me to the brink. I read and write papers every day, and I have no friends. I wanted to call you, but I was afraid you'd say I brought this on myself." She crossed her arms and looked away. "Why are you telling me this? I'm nobody to you. Didn't you come here to get back together with me? Otherwise, why would you be cooking downstairs to seduce me?
What do you take me for?
You break up when you want to break up, and get back together when you want to get back together? You come and go as you please. Then just give me some of the food you made. I don't want to lose both the girl and the food." In the end, she let me sit at the table. At the dining table, I picked up my chopsticks and wolfed down the food. "When did you learn how to cook? And what are you doing here?" She leaned against the fridge, looking at me with disdain. "I came to see how miserable some people are after leaving me. Then you're going to be disappointed. Even though I've faced a lot of difficulties, they definitely won't defeat me." Hearing this, she suddenly walked over and sat across from me, looking at me seriously. "Come back with me. Well, get married immediately. Studying here, all alone and lonely, what's the point?" I was a bit tempted, but I shook my head. If a person's soul feels lonely, they'll be lonely no matter where they are. Besides, when we lived together, it was basically like being married. Even though that life felt a bit lonely, yet romantic. I don't want to experience it a second time. That night, I didn't go back to my rented room upstairs. Shen Buyu said I couldn't just eat her food for free, so she forcibly made me stay over at her place. When I woke up the next day, she was still lying next to me. Unlike before, when she was always in a rush to leave, as if the world was waiting for her to save it. Shen Buyu stayed here for 5 days. Then she had to fly back to China. She said if she didn't go back soon, her sister would think she could turn the world upside down. The day she left, I walked her to the door. She patted my shoulder. "I'll come back next month. Study hard. Stop eating, take out all the time." After I closed the door, I grabbed the sandwich on the table and started eating it while humming a tune. And just like that, Shen Buyu and I got back together. After getting back together, my mood improved significantly, and I had more drive in life. I started studying like crazy, wanting to finish my tasks early, so that when she came, I could spend all my time with her. Shen Buyu came to see me every month. I called the days she visited my prison visitation days. Her cooking was amazing. One day, she waved me over. "Come here, I'll teach you." I sat on the sofa, not moving an inch. What's there to learn? But out of habit, I still walked over. Like a gentle husband, I helped her roll up her sleeves and tied her apron. I didn't like cooking, but I loved watching her cook. Our days were becoming more and more like an old married couple. Until later, when I was doing my PhD, Shen Buyu and I went to get our marriage certificate. Coming out of the registry office, I held the marriage certificate and looked at Shen Buyu. "If your mom doesn't accept me and says she'll kick you out of the house if you don't divorce me, cuts off your credit cards, and you lose your career, will you go back or stay with me? I'll jump off a roof." In my mind, I immediately pictured her standing on a rooftop. I smiled. "Then before you jump, you have to say goodbye. Thanks you, my true love." Her shoulders shook, looking like she couldn't stand me. I asked her again, "Does your mom really have no objections? I mean, about us getting married? She has no right to control me." Suddenly, I remembered what happened back then. Speaking of which, I still haven't met your sister. We only got together because of her. She glanced at me, but didn't reply. But I felt that her relationship with her sister probably wasn't very good, because parents always favor the younger one. This made me a bit worried about our future, to graduate and return home as soon as possible. I studied a ton of things every day. My days were fulfilling and busy, until she came for another prison visit. She looked at me and paused. "Fang Shu, how did you get so fat?" Now that she mentioned it, I really had gained some weight. "Have you been eating too much?"
Probably.
"After writing papers, I just want to eat fried chicken." Then, starting today, I'm making you fat loss meals. Half a month later, my weight returned to normal. When my classmates heard that a family member was accompanying me, they were all surprised and always wanted to come over to mooch a meal. After Shen Buyu cooked meals for over a dozen people twice. That night, she leaned against the sofa and looked at me. "If you bring people back to eat again, don't bother coming back yourself." I felt very guilty and immediately decided to ban my classmates from coming over. I felt that living together required mutual compromise, but I didn't expect that the toughest test would be syncing our life rhythms. Sometimes she had meetings late into the night, and sometimes I wrote papers until dawn, but we would always leave sticky notes on the fridge for each other. These days were very ordinary, so ordinary that I felt like they could go on forever. In the third year of my PhD, my dissertation was progressing smoothly, and Shen Buyu's remote work had stabilized. We decided to return to China together after I graduated. The day we returned, she packed up the things in the apartment and shipped them off. I stood at the door, taking one last look at this tiny 40-square-meter apartment, but she just grabbed her suitcase. "Let's go. It's not like we're never coming back. If we want to come back in the future, we can just visit." True, you're right. After returning to China, Shen Buyu and I lived our lives as usual. Years later, Shen Buyu and I went to the kindergarten to pick up our daughter. After school, on the way home, our little girl asked me curiously, "Dad, how did you and Mom get together?" I glanced at Shen Buyu beside me, who was also looking at me. "Back in the day, your mom and I